Hey y'all, Joe here. Kind of ASMR Joe, kind of not. It's like 1 o'clock my time right now. And I just kind of we wanted to do the preview show. Me and Carl were having issues hooking up over the weekend, and this was the backup plan. The backup plan got delayed because I've been busy with work and a couple other things ongoing. Right now I've been trying to help a friend get a job with me, so that's been a lot of, working on that end. So it's been kind of fighting to, make time. But I got time now, and that's what matters. So here we go. Let's, normally me and Carl, we would do the blank to my blank, a nice duo team. So what am I doing today? Well, I know just what I'm doing. I got something special today because I get to be the only one here. It's my show. It's the Loco Joe show, whatever you want to call it. Here we have the preview show with Joe himself, as some people call me, Loco Joe. Some people call me that. It's supposed to be for my gaming and when I play fighting games competitively. But anyways, so we can call it the Loco Joe show if we want. But here we go. Who is the one and only today? Today, I am the one, the only, and with the power of movie magic, I am your favorite fight analysis, MF Doom. Today, or MF Joe, I guess. I don't have it tied, so it's falling off. I was going to say Dr. Doom, but it's clearly an MF Doom mask, not a Dr. Doom mask. Your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, if you don't know. That's why I say your favorite fight analysis. But enough of that talk. Let's get to the prelims, because there are, in my opinion, 3 fights, or as, the German way, watching Glorious Bastards this week. The German way, 3 way of doing it. What's it called? The 3 fights. I'll do it here because I have the camera positioned a little differently than normal. The 3 big fights for me on the prelims are Chris Gutierrez and John Castaneda. Originally, it was going to be Chris Gutierrez taking on Gene Matsumoto, but Matsumoto got rebooked. Things got scrambled. Here comes the sexy Mexi John Castaneda. That's his actual nickname. Always cracks me up. Hilarious to me. I will always remember, because what's a previous show with Joe without a tangent? I always remember being on a date at this really fancy and nice Brazilian steakhouse with my ex, who I think I hate. Anyways, I think I hate this person. Funny enough, you can see him commenting on one of my recaps. But anyways, regardless of how I feel about this person, I remember getting a text going, this guy's nickname is the Sexy Mexi, and he just knocked out our boy Eddie Wineland from my best friend. So, which was, I think that was Curtis Blades, Derek Lewis, that pay-per-view, that card? I'm trying to remember. I don't want to look it up because it's more of a funny story, funny anecdote. But a very funny name. And he's actually, despite losing his last fight, he's still pretty good. Pretty solid guy at bantamweight. Bantamweight's a really fun division. Chris Gutierrez, though, this guy, really good. Honestly, he had a little bit of, I thought, punishment booking after the Frankie Edgar fight. And he's gone 1-2 since then, right? That said, I think he's still really got a lot of upside on him. He's a fun fighter to watch. And I think this fight's going to be good. Chris Gutierrez is a massive favorite here, and I do think he's going to win, but I think that is a fight to check out. I think that fight is secretly could be potential fight of the night, if I'm being honest. The other 2 that I'm really kind of excited for is Bruno Ferreira versus Armen Petrosyan. So, Armen Petrosyan, last fight, he got hit with that double spinning back fist, that big viral KO by Magomed Sharapov. No, that's Zabit I'm thinking of. What's his last name? I remember it is Magomedov. Why is everybody having trouble with his last name? Maybe it's his first name people have trouble with. Shara Magomedov. Magomed Sharapov was Zabit. I don't know. I remember thinking people had problems with it, but I remember being able to say it. But he's taking on Bruno Ferreira, who they call the Hulk. Fun KO for Phil Hawes. That was brutal. Spinning back elbow KO as well. But he lost his last fight. He's coming in. Both these guys got a lot to lose. Good amount to gain. And I think that's usually a recipe for a fun fight. A fun fight at middleweight? Joe gone crazy? Potentially gone crazy. But lastly, the big fight on the prelims is Joshua Van, who, despite getting like KO'd by like Charles Johnson, he's ranked. He's looking good. He's like 14th. Fight Tapology has him at 14th at flyweights, but he's taking on Ray Sugaraya, who is like, I think he was the Road to the UFC champ tournament winner. And so if I count those, I think he's like 4-0 in the UFC, but I don't. So this is his second fight in the UFC. But he's unbeaten, 10-0, mostly known for his grappling, a lot of finishes with ground and pound and submission game. He's got a Kimura, guillotine, rear naked choke, so he has a varied attack with his submissions on the ground. But I think this fight is legitimately one to watch for. So definitely, highly, highly recommend checking it out. I think those are it. And also, I think I ran through this pretty quick, actually. So the prelims are up here, of course. If I remember right, though, Joshua Van's a big favorite right now. I don't have the odds next to me. I tried pulling them up, and it was really odd. Tapology isn't actually showing the odds for this. I have the odds for it. But I saved one prelim. I know you're like, oh, that's not the marquee prelim. There is another marquee prelim. And it's one that I actually laughed pretty hard when I realized it was a prelim. And I was like, why is this a prelim? This makes no sense to me. But we have Curtis Blades, who last fought for the undisputed, I don't care, undisputed heavyweight title of the world, taking on Riznan Kuniev. Now, this isn't a late notice replacement. Fight was planned, this fight was ready to go. And Blades, from the community, Tapology, is a big favorite. He is up 87% to win, people say. But he's a moderate favorite. You can catch him at minus 330, whereas Kuniev you can catch at plus 250. So why is this fight getting made? Like, you know what I mean? So this fight's getting made because Kuniev was the Eagle FC champion with wins over UFC vet Anthony Hamilton. He guillotine choked him in round 1. Dude's got a very good ground game, solid punches. He's a big heavyweight. What do you expect? Kind of thing. And he's like, I think they're hoping he's new blood. And he actually also he went to a no contest. They got overturned to a no contest. I forgot what it was originally. If I remember correctly, I'm pulling it up now because I remember it being controversial. Very controversial. Yeah. So, Kuniev beat Renan Fajeda and by decision in PFL. But then he tested for anabolic steroids. What steroids? Drostanolone, Metalenone, Baldinon, and 19 noradrostosterone. I believe I said that right. I always get stuck with like the hard things. He popped hot for having nuclear DNA, nuclear radiation in his blood, and he fought. It was after fighting for Eagle FC. So if you're a Habib hater, you get something to crack jokes at, I think. But then he had a fight on the Contender Series, and he did something that I personally love. Things I've been calling for a while. He got a huge knee to the body with ground and pound for the win. Like, I really miss those like GSP classic, like, like on Matt Serra when he has been backside mount, just boom, destroying him with knees. If anyone plays if anyone remembers playing like the old like UFC Undisputed games back in the day, then they remember getting side control and just like holding the modifier and hitting like A and B or X and circle just to like start clobbering with knees on the ground. You can do it in backside control too. And I want more of those, so I'm always happy to see knees on the ground get a finish, which is always sick. But he got that on the Contender Series, and I think the UFC's kind of in a spot where they really want new blood. I think they really want new blood. I mean, this guy's record's actually really good. He's 13-2-1. He hasn't lost a fight since his fifth fight, right? He's never been finished. Wait, has he been finished? No, yeah, he's never been finished. I read Tapology wrong for a split second. Never been finished, and the dude is, honestly, I'm thinking the UFC thinks he has a lot of upside. I don't know how much of an upside he has. I think they're kind of tossing him into the buzzsaw. But Curtis Blades is hittable, and he can be chinny. I'm not saying he's like super chinny, but one second. Wanted to move it. It kind of helps with lighting a little bit because there's a little bit of a glare on, like you guys can see it, from how bright Tapology is. Tapology's really bright. So, it's kind of how it is. I have Topology up because I do this when I work with Carl. I'll have vague notes, and I just kind of like, go off of it. But if I need to reference anything, I have it up here. Here, I have my predictions, and I have everything ready to go, but just in case. Same kind of mindset, so I always have Topology up. That's why I apologize for where this is. But yeah, so this is like the big marquee one here. I personally think Curtis Blades probably runs through the heavyweight Daegestani. I think I don't think he's going to run through. I think he's going to beat him, and I think he's going to beat him by TKO. I think his striking is better. I think the wrestling could probably negate each other, but I'm going to give the power advantage to Curtis Blades, which is a huge thing at heavyweight, having a power advantage. And I think but the biggest thing at heavyweight, one of the reasons why guys like Tom Aspinall has so much success, and Sergey Pavlovich and Alexander Volkov have so much success in the striking at heavyweight, and why like Prime Stipe was so good, and Mark Hunt, Junior Dos Santos, Cain Velasquez is a lot of the great heavyweights are very good at landing their shots, right? So because everyone at heavyweight hits like a truck. Having an amazing chin at heavyweight, having a big nog type chin or a Fedor type chin is insane, or Fujita back in the day in Prime. It's insane to have an insane chin. But the big thing is it's not as important to be able to take a punch at heavyweight because no one really can. Being able to consistently land your punch and land your shots, I should say, and land them early and often. So consistency at landing and landing faster and not getting hit as much. Because the name of the game, as we all kind of, some people will jokingly say, is the name of the game is to hit and not be hit at its core level, right? The same way, like, if you really want to oversimplify basketball, it's like, I have to stop him from putting his ball in my basket, and I got to put my ball in his basket, or I got to put that ball in their basket. Oversimplifying. And I think, and like that's like the core thing of boxing and MMA, hit and not be hit. Heavyweights that are really good at hitting and can have great success. Curtis Blades is good at hitting. He's not bad at it. Alistair Overeem, very good at hitting back in the day. The problem is, this also goes with Curtis Blades, who, ironically enough, has a knockout win over Alistair Overeem from ground and pound. Curtis Blades isn't great at not getting hit. You know who's good at hitting people and not getting hit? Tom Aspinall. That's why he's the best heavyweight on the planet. John Jones, no. Anyone says John Jones, no chance. And on the main card, opening up, we get to watch a lightweight fight, which is so good. We get to check out as King Green, not Bobby Green, not Bobby King Green, King Green. You got the Bobby mixed out. I think he should have Bobby as his nickname. Personally, no. Just an idea. Tossing it out there, Mr. Green. And he's coming off of in my opinion, it was an upset for me. He was upset. Loss against Paddy Pimblett, where he got hit with some low kicks, took a low kick, and he says he didn't shoot for the takedown. He said he got knocked down with a low kick. He said he slipped on a banana peel, got knocked down with a calf kick, and caused him to fall forward, which means he went into the guard of Paddy Pimblett, who was ready for him, and triangle choked him, went unconscious. But before that, though, he pieced up Jim Miller at UFC 300. But he's got like a really hard test, and I hate being this guy. I feel like he's being fed. I think he's being used as a name to add to the belt of Mauricio Rufy, who is training at the insanely good Fight Nerds camp right now. Oh my gosh. Whew. It's going to be sweet. This fight's going to be sweet. So, I remember thinking, like, is this fight taking place at 155 or welterweight? Because I feel like I've seen Rufy fight at both. Because, like, didn't he fight... The last fight was at catchweight at 165. And then he fought Malarkey at 55. Oh yeah, his contender series fight was at welterweight. That's why I think he's a welterweight. I always think he's a welterweight for some reason. But, yeah, Mauricio Rufy, let's look at him in some detail here. He's got an 11-1 record, 10 KOs. His only non-KO was his last fight against James Yontop. And in a fight that, like, he started kind of fading near the end, but he still won. I thought pretty comfortably. I thought he won. And I mean, what can you say? When you watch this guy fight, he is all action. He is a buzzsaw. This dude is terrifying to watch fight. Absolutely terrifying to watch fight. Fun fact about Rufy, I like bringing this up when I can, because this always makes me laugh. I see the name on his record every time, and I always get a little bit of a chuckle. Before coming to the UFC, his fight before the Contender Series was against UFC vet Janis Torres, most famously known for being the opponent in the Melvin Guillard fight, fight, where the ice bag fell and Joe Rogan started freaking out on the ice bag. The Three Stooges. So I always get a laugh when I see that name. But he has a win. He has a TKO win. Just bashed him. This dude, just a Muay Thai wrecking ball. Trains out of the Fight Nerds camp, so you know the dude can strike. You get the sense that he can grapple very well. And he's taken on a guy like Bobby King Green, who has a 32-16-1 record. Been around a lot. But, like, he's how old is he? 38. So definitely getting up there in years. His fight years is probably like 70 or 60. He's in the 60s or in the 70s. I sadly think this is a situation where they're setting up King Green to just get laid out. Because what was the fight before he fought Jim Miller? Does anyone remember? Raise your hand if you do. No one's raising them, so I'll answer the question. I'll take care of this. Jalen Turner, which is one of the worst stoppages I have ever seen in my life. Haunting stoppage. And, yeah, just... But he's been put out before. Like, I've seen him get put out pretty hard. Drew Dober in a fantastic fight, I want to stress. Fantastic fight. Drew Dober knocked him out with a left hook in a great fight. He went toe-to-toe with Fiziev and actually didn't get KO'd. He actually won the last round. Fiziev started, who we'll talk about later. But, excuse me, I'm trying not to burp. I keep trying to, like, stifle it. I apologize. But Fiziev, and him, like, they went at it pretty hard. And a great fight. He took a good shot in that fight, but Dustin Poirier blasted him. He got knocked out by someone else, too. I feel like I'm thinking of... Was I thinking of Dan Lozon? No, Dan Lozon beat him by submission. I was looking for the other one, but I thought he got put out. But so only 3, but all 3 of those are pretty hard, or 4, because the Magomed one, that's a TKO from ground and pound. But the 3 KOs, and they're pretty hard to watch. Knockouts, they're pretty vicious. So I think they're setting him up with this young killer, a guy who's 28, younger than me, and out of the hottest camp in the world right now, the Fight Nerds, or the Fighting Nerds, I always want to call them Fight Nerds, and who's young, hungry, and mean. He's got a reach advantage. He's got a small height advantage. That won't matter too much, but he's got a good solid reach advantage. Tons of power. I think if Bobby Green wins, he has to take this into the final rounds. I could see this kind of being a situation where maybe you have a close second round. You survive the first round, you have a close second round with him, and then you win round 3, and you can probably take a judge's decision that way, or maybe even get a late stoppage if you wear on him. Because Bobby Green does have very good Philly shell. He is a little hard to hit. When you do hit him, you can have success, but he's a little harder to hit. Very fun Philly shell styling, and not boring like Sean Strickland is with the Philly shell. It's actually fun, but you can, if you do catch him, if you are slick enough, you can hit him. So Trudober, actually a pretty slick on the feet striker, not overly technical, but just meat and potatoes solid. Whereas Jalen Turner, long, lanky, got a ton of reach, very much a sniper on the feet, was able to crack him. But the other one was Dustin Poirier, who used at the time, not very common, but very, very, very good. Dustin Poirier's whole career is almost based on this technique, which is switching stances mid-combination to set up your lead hand as your rear hand. And he would do that constantly to set up the right hand, and then he would use it to follow up with a great left hand. Punished him with the stance switching and in the middle of the combinations and moving forward while he's kind of circling to crowd him and kind of create great striking opportunities. I think a guy like Rufi is talented enough to implement some sort of styling like that, but also he's a wild berserker man. So this could be kind of crazy. This could be kind of nuts. I think this fight's going to be pretty interesting. That said, I'm picking Rufi. I'm very, very confident in picking Mauricio Rufi to win by knockout. I think in the first round, or I could see second round, personally. Moving on, we move to the strawweight division as we have Amanda Lemos, who is at this point, I was trying to look at the age, 37 years of age, another 30s versus 20s here, 37 years of age against 23-year-old Yasmin Lucindo, and both Brazilians, both in here, ready to go. Amanda Lemos just lost her last fight. I was trying to remember if she lost it or not, but I was 99% sure. But for a lot of people that don't know, Amanda Lemos was a former title contender. She is currently with a 14-4-1 record. She fought, in her last fight was Verna Yondaroba. I was one of who always struggle with the last name, but before that she beat Mackenzie Dern very comfortably. Fought Wiley Zhang, lost very comfortably, I thought. But she was good, but it wasn't great. But before that she finished Marina Rodriguez, which was a huge upset, and got her the title fight because of how big of an upset it was. She beat Michelle Waterson-Gomez, or the future Michelle Waterson-Neal, by guillotine choke in a very, very slick fashion. And before that, I was one of my first recap videos, actually, against Jessica Andrade, where she was submitted with a standing arm triangle, and the height discrepancy and the standing arm triangle was so funny. Like, I still think about that finish to this day of like, how'd you get caught with that? Amanda Lemos would probably slaughter me. I'm old and I'm out of shape and I haven't trained in a very long time. So she's probably slaughtering, destroying me, but still kind of funny. I can get a laugh out of that. That said, Amanda Lemos is very, very good. Tons of power. At strawweight, having power like that is pretty impressive. Has some submission losses. Has a weakness in the grappling, and she's taken on Yasmin Lucindo, who is 17-5 and 23 years old. A lot of hype coming on her because she just come off of beating Marina Rodriguez as well by split decision. Beat Karolina Kowalkiewicz, Polyana Viana, Brogan Walker, and her only loss since 2019 was a decision loss to Yasmin Yaragüe, who also has a lot of hype on her as well, despite the fact that I feel like most of it is based on how she looks. But she is a very good fighter. Very good fighter, but just probably not fighting the right people at the right time, if I'm being perfectly honest. Probably being pushed a little too hard. But that said, after that fight, she's kind of just really cranked it up a notch. Much better on the striking. She does have she has decent power as well, but her grappling has looked a lot better, and she's really kind of turned that corner, I think, from a technical advantage or from a technical aspect to really make herself much much more of an appealing contender in this division because strawweight's kind of struggling at the time. Tatiana Suarez was like the last like of the really bigger names that we could see kind of making a big push towards, spicing up the division with a win over Weili Zhang, and now it's not happening. But here's an added level of interest. It sounds like Weili Zhang might have to drop her title soon because she wants to fight Valentina. If that happens, and I'm saying if, it's a rumor, I don't know how true they are, but if that happens, then we could see the winner of this probably being in that fight for the vacant title. So that adds a level of interest. Now, what are the odds for this fight? It's actually pretty near even. You can catch Lemos at plus 110, and you can catch Lucindo at minus 130. Slight favorite, but it's almost even, really. I'm personally picking Amanda Lemos to win here, and I'll explain why. So, I think Amanda Lemos has fought the better competition, and Marina Rodriguez is like a big name for them, but I think momentum is huge. Momentum is massive in this sport, but Amanda Lemos has already kind of made a knack for being a momentum killer. She doesn't need much, in my opinion, to kind of build momentum. There's some fighters who need who will lose a fight and their next fight's a knockdown, drag-out war that they barely scrape by. Now I have momentum again. She doesn't really seem to need that. She just kind of loses and is like, okay, cool, next fight, let's go. Back to, cracking people and bashing them. And I think she can punish Lucindo on the feet. They're similar reach, similar height, so that's kind of even there. But I think she can punish her on the feet. I think realistically, she probably has the power advantage, I think, too. So I'm going to go with Amanda Lemos by decision. I don't think she'll finish. I feel like in strawweight, even if you have the big power advantage, I feel like it's still pretty difficult to get. What's the word I'm looking for? I think it's still difficult to get a finish. So yeah, I think Amanda Lemos by decision is how I want to go here. I'm calling the upset, slight upset. Now for a fight that is just there's no word for it. We have 3 fights in a row now that are just bonkers. As we have Jalen the Tarantula Turner versus Ignacio La Wala Bahamondes. And this fight is just kind of crazy. So Jalen Turner, let's talk about him first. 14-8 record. Do not let that record kind of sway how you feel about how good this guy is. Because this guy is just insane. This guy is nuts. He came into the UFC off of a Contender Series win, but he fought then super hot prospect Vicente Luque, and he got knocked out. Yeah, sure. Watch that fight. I've covered it on the Retro Review series before. It's UFC 229. One of the best cards ever, by the way. That fight is crazy. That fight's nuts. That fight went just under 4 minutes, and they are back and forth. Like, it's a very close fight until Jalen Turner goes for an ill-fated spinning back elbow, gets clobbered, they go to the ground, Luque puts him out. But after that, Kalen Potter knocks him out. He loses against Matt Frivola, then Josh Kulabau knocks him out. Brock Weaver taps him out. Uros Medic taps him out. Jamie Malarkey blasts him. Brad Riddell is still considered very, very good. And just runs through Brad Riddell. All this hype's on him. What happens? Then he drops 2 in a row to Mateusz Gamrot, who is a perennial contender in a very, very, very close fight that I know a lot of people still think Jalen Turner won. And against Dan Hooker, which was crazy fight. Dan Hooker had to dig super deep to pull this upset off. It was insane fight. And then he had the aforementioned very, 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 very bad stoppage against Bobby King Green. Just went on way too long. Then, Hinata Moicano, which I got to talk about that fight. Moicano has a crazy comeback in that fight. Because in the first round, Jalen Turner is smashing him. Knocks him down twice, hoping for the ref to trying to do a walk-off KO and can't. If he just followed up, he probably would have won. And I don't know if anyone's seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia. One of my favorite episodes is the one where if you know, you know kind of thing. I'm not going to go into too much explaining, but is of the fight, or one of the moments where the McPoyles hold the gang hostage. And at the end of it, you know, Ryan and Liam McPoyle, they're doing the classic, I won't let you go, brother, don't let me go, kind of thing. And as Ryan McPoyle is holding Liam over on top of the roof, they're on the roof, and he's like, I won't let you go, I'll never let you go, I'm going to bring you up. Here comes Danny DeVito as Frank Reynolds with like a 2x4, oh no you don't, and like starts like kind of pushing him down off the building. I've seen, there's a meme I have on my phone of Jalen Turner like holding his knockout of the night bonus. I won't let you go. Like, and then here comes also Jalen Turner. Oh no, I don't. Like, cracks me up. I still have it on my phone because it still makes me laugh. That said, dude's really good. Is he 1-3 in his last 4? Yeah, he is. Does that mean anything? No, it really doesn't to me. It really doesn't, because Mateusz Gamrot, that fight's super close. Dan Hooker, fight's super close, and I think he lost flat out. The Moicano fight, oh, dude, you kind of threw that one, didn't you, bud? Oh, and it's not like he's looking any worse. Like, he still looks really good in all those fights. He's still dangerous, and he's still, I think, considered a very, very good fighter. And he's taking on a guy who is very hot right now. Ignacio Bahamondes, 16-5 record. He's only won 2 in a row, but man, it's just how he's winning these fights. Like, they're insane. So, 11-5 record. He has, or not 11-5, excuse me. 16-5 record, but 11 KOs, 1 submission, 4 decisions, but 11 KOs. His last 2 fights have been just nasty knockouts too. The big thing of note is he lost to John Magdessi by split decision. Then he wheel kicked Roosevelt Roberts. If you haven't seen it, go check out that. It's like in the last 5 seconds of the fight, he just like throws a wheel kick, just picture perfect, walk off KO, insanity. He got a Bravo choke over Rong Zhu. He beat Trey Ogden by decision, loses to Ludovic Klein, who is also, like, no one's talking about how good that guy is. That guy's actually, like, Mr. Highlight's really good. Mr. Highlight's really, really good. I'm surprised no one's talking about that guy when they talk about, like, a guy that potentially can go somewhere in a major promotion, because he's on a 6-fight win streak. He's still young. He's 30. I'm surprised. Is he fighting? Does he have a fight announced? He doesn't have a fight announced. Wow. Ludovic Klein's very good. So I don't hold that one too much against him. But he fought Christos Giagos. Picture perfect. Probably the cleanest head kick I've ever seen since, like, maybe the Vochanskin Crow Cop head kick. That head kick is gnarly. It doesn't put him out cold either. Like, it knocks him down and he puts him out with, like, more shots afterwards. He's basically out from the head kick, but picture perfect shot. Honestly. Just mind-blowing KO. Then he fought on Noche UFC against Manuel Torres. Huge counter right. Boom. Falls up some ground and pound. Another KO. Dude's winning, and he's winning in dramatic highlight reel fashions. You know. And this is a fight where you just go, oh, how do you pick this fight? The odds makers don't even know, because this fight is even, basically even. You get Jalen Turner at a -115, and you can get Ignacio Bahamondes at -105. Oh, wow. Tapology, with over 1,500 votes, has 60% leaning towards Bahamondes, 40% on Turner. This one's close. I think Jalen Turner has more ways to win. I think he's a better grappler than Bahamondes. The striking seems about even. So I usually lean towards the more versatile fighter here. And I just made that thing about like momentum. Like momentum's important, but like it's not as important as other ways of doing it, right? But I think I'm gonna go with Bahamondes here. I think I'm gonna go Bahamondes. I don't think he'll finish. I don't think he'll knock out Turner. I think this was a close to striking heavy decision win. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. See, close though. I think this fight's gonna be really good. Sorry, just getting ready for this next fight. The co-main event. The co-main event of the evening. Justin Gaethje. Rafael Fiziev. This fight was initially going to be Justin Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. Last week, Fiziev broke his hand. Hooker broke his hand, I believe. Or his thumb, something like that. He broke his hand. Had an injury, I'm going to pause this because I have to cough. One moment, guys. I apologize. Sorry about that. Mouth was getting dry, and I was just trying to power through it. So, Justin Gaethje, Rafael Fiziev, Fiziev. I've heard multiple ways of saying it. I say both. I'll be honest. This fight's crazy because this is a rematch, and that fight was crazy. Fiziev hasn't fought since he destroyed his leg. I think it wasn't an ACL tear, was it? I think it was against Mateusz Gamrot. And the fight before that, he lost to Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje, his last fight was a lot of people's like fight of the year, which was Max Holloway versus him and Max Holloway with knockout of the year. Absolutely, it wasn't my fight of the year. It was my number 2 or 3, I think. I think it was my number 2. But very good fight. But definitely my knockout of the year without context, or with full context, knockout of the year. Without context, there's probably more spectacular like overhands, But with context, what a knockout! That said, this dude had a lot of momentum going into that fight. He got the belt, the BMF title against Dustin Poirier, and before that he had the majority decision win over Fiziev. That fight's really good, and I watched it this week, and I can tell you again, that fight's really good. That's a really, really, really good fight. Basically, that fight is just a nasty kickboxing scrap, where Fiziev is just in the first round, just letting loose, catching Gaethje, he's getting the better of him, and Gaethje starts jabbing in the second round. And Fiziev starts slowing down. Fiziev is starting to get eaten up by these jabs. He's taking more shots, which is hurting his gas tank, but he's not willing to go out on the shield. And Gaethje just keeps pushing on the gas, and it's just a awesome kickboxing match. I mean, Justin Gaethje is literally the human highlight reel. He's the Dominique Wilkins of MMA. Like his nickname is the highlight. He really is just the human highlight reel. Just tons of fights. Dude has a 25-5 record. Here are the 5 guys he's lost to: Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Dustin Poirier, and Eddie Alvarez. You know what's in common with all of them? They're all champions. They're all been champions. And you know what's even more in common with them? They're all all-time greats. I think the only guy I could see people going, he's not an all-time great, is like Eddie Alvarez. That's just because they don't know what they're talking about. I'm being mean. But no, that dude came to the UFC already past his prime. Right? Like he was already like leaving his prime when he got to the UFC. And he still became a champion here. Yeah. Like, think about that. You know what I mean? Like, he was nuts back. He was pre-UFC in Bellator. Dude, he wasted way too much time in Bellator. That dude was crazy. That dude would have beaten Ben Henderson. That dude would have beaten... Man, he was training partners with Frankie Edgar at the time, so I don't really know. But he definitely would have beaten Ben Henderson. He would have beaten... I just thought of the prospect of... BJ Penn Eddie Alvarez match. BJ probably would have won. BJ was still pretty insane at that time, but him and Eddie would have been a really, really close fight. At the least. Nuts. But yeah, he's beaten all these guys. Like, he's only lost to champions. And he had that huge, legendary run to getting the interim title, which was James Vick gets called to Homer Simpson of MMA, clobbers him. Done. Edson Barboza, clobbers him. Done. Donald Cerrone, clobbers him. Done. 3 straight first-round knockouts. Then he takes on Tony Ferguson in admittingly a fight I really like, but also the downfall of Tony Ferguson. I like that fight because it's like the toughness of Tony Ferguson. Even with the context of the moment, in the moment, I was just like, someone's doing this to Tony Ferguson? Justin Gaethje's doing? Dude, this is insane, you know? Because it's like, it's 1-1 going into round 3. But, yeah, Tony, that's the fight ruined Tony. He cut weight twice for that fight for some reason. Not very smart. But, this fight's crazy. Fiziev, 12-3 record. His only losses are to Magomed Mustafayev. He got spinning back kick early in round 1. Just got knocked out with like the wheel kick. Then he lost to Justin Gaethje by majority decision because he rattled off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight wins, 3 KOs, 3 decisions in that span, or on the way to fighting Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje, he loses the majority decision, as you mentioned before, and then destroyed his leg. I thought he was losing, though. He gets Gamrot, but he did destroy his leg in that fight. I think he was a blocked kick, if I remember right. I didn't want to watch it because my knee's been kind of bugging me, so I was like, it's going to just hurt by proxy. Yeah. What can I say about this fight except... Thank you. So the odds are really weird to me. Justin Gaethje is at a plus 104, whereas Fiziev is at a minus 130. Fiziev's coming on like a week and a half notice. I don't even know if he's going to make weight. He hasn't fought since 2023. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of see what I'm putting up here? That said, I think this fight's going to be crazy. Probably the cleanest Muay Thai specialist I've seen in MMA, at least in modern UFC, I should say. In modern UFC, the cleanest Muay Thai specialist is Rafael Fiziev, and Justin Gaethje. It's Justin Gaethje. It's Dominic Wilkins of MMA. Human highlight reel. Like, I like that. I'm big basketball historian. I am, so Justin Gaethje, Dominic Wilkins. I really like that. That's fun. Yeah, I like that one a lot. I'm going to go with Justin Gaethje here by decision again. Is this five rounds? I think it's 3 rounds. It should be 3 rounds because it's a late. I know it was initially going to be 5 rounds. But I know it was initially going to be 5 rounds, but with Dan Hooker pulling out, which that fight would have been crazy too. But I think with it being 3 rounds, I think Fiziev is probably too durable, and he's been healing. Like his chin and his head health. His head health's been helping out. I don't think he finishes or beats Gaethje because the time, coming in short notice and coming in off of a long break. I think that's going to hurt him. I think ring rust and the short notice is just a bad matchup for him. But I think he'll be healthy enough to survive the 5 rounds or the 3 rounds unless his gas tank really fails him. If his gas tank really fails him again, because he does slow down. Going in like the middle of the 3rd round, he starts really slowing down, and Gaethje caught him slowing down in the 1st round because Fiziev kind of punched himself out a little bit, and then eating shots really hurt his gas tank. I think Justin Gaethje win the decision. Then for the main event, the most divisive fight that's going to divide the fandom, more like just right down the middle, as Alex Pereira takes on the guy he should have fought 3 fights ago, Magomed Ankalaev. Wow. We finally get it. Alex Pereira with a 12-2 record. Former middleweight champion. The scariest striker in the sport, probably. Against Magomed Ankalaev, who's Russian. He's from Dagestan, specifically. A very good striker on his own. And very good wrestler. This fight's super exciting. I'm almost frothing at the mouth, admittingly, about how exciting this fight is. That said, I'm really annoyed this fight hasn't happened sooner. And I think they've been avoiding making this fight for a reason. Because I really think Ankalaev is going to destroy Pereira here. I think Ankalaev's... I'm nervous. I'm nervous for this fight. And here's why. So, Alex Pereira, massive striker. Pound for pound, the hardest hitter I think I've ever seen. Like, Conor hit hard, but he was more precision. Sean O'Malley, same kind of mindset. Actually, a guy who might have contention is Joseph Benavidez and another guy, Henry Cejudo. Because Henry Cejudo isn't going to do it with his punches or kicks or anything like that, his knees or anything like that. He's going to do it with his head. That's the hardest hit, the hardest single strike, and it's illegal too. You can take in MMA. Biggest head I've ever seen. That dude, that bowling ball sized noggin that dude has. It's like a wrecking ball. No. You remember how they used to say Francis Ngannou had the punching power of a Ford Escort? I would imagine Pereira is probably like a Ford Escort punch as well. And he's in a division lower. He's a huge guy. He can fight at heavyweight. But if you look at his size and body mass, he's nowhere near the size of Ngannou. And I think the new way we should say it is he punches with the force of taking a Henry Cejudo headbutt. That force and mass and speed coming at you, haunting. God, I'm still thinking about Cejudo's head. He had Shane Carwin fist-size head, They had to make special helmets for that boy when he rides a bicycle. I can say this stuff. I have a giant head too. So I know the pain, Henry. I know the pain. Us Chicanos got to stick together, all right? Maybe light skin like Miklo, but we're still Chicanos, I love Blood In, Blood Out. I love that movie. Anyways, here's why I'm nervous with this fight. So, mega striker Alex Pereira is taking on Magomed Ankalaev, who, in theory, should just take down Pereira. Pereira's never been forced to wrestle, and when he got dominated and got smoked on. He's never really fought a guy who's been down to wrestle him. Jan Blachowicz is the closest guy, and his wrestling isn't even that good. He's mostly just kind of strength, out muscling you down. Pereira's a very strong guy. He can kind of contest that. And I thought he lost that fight. I thought he got out. Excuse me, trying not to burp again. That was a hiccup, though, almost. I thought he got out grappled and lost that fight straight up. And here he is fighting Magomed Ankalaev, who is a good strength wrestler, but he's also a very good technical wrestler. So that strength thing shouldn't really matter here. That said, Ankalaev's been saying some stupid stuff, we'll say. He's been saying, I'm going to dominate him on the feet. Why? That's all I have to ask. Why? I just don't understand. How much money... This feels like some Elite XC thing where it's like, hey, Seth Petrozelli, be really cool if you strength with Kimbo. That's what this feels like to me. Just take him down. Don't be stupid. Just double leg him. Don't double leg him. He might catch a knee. Careful off the stand switch. Flying knee. You might have to... You have to get inside. Get inside and get close to the guy. But... Which is the scary part. Because this guy can put your lights out like that. But just take him down. Just take him down. If this fight is a striking match, Alex Pereira wins. Got no problem saying that. I can see Ankalaev having some success, but with how much Jan smashed on his legs with low kicks, the very, very good low kicker of Alex Pereira is probably going to see that and just start salivating. But if Ankalaev is smart, Just take him down. Be really easy, I'd imagine. I'd imagine it'd be pretty easy. Gosh. I'm nervous thinking about it. I'm really curious what you guys think. I do have one note from Carl. I haven't read it yet. Let me check it. Thanks, man. Just keep me updated with anything that's going on at your end. I'm happy to do it. Here's my notes I have for the main event. Please, God, please, oh Lord, sweet Jesus, please. Onk, just, some swear words here. Just effing wrestle him for the love of, never even seen that cuss word before. It's got to be like a cultural, like US to UK thing. Some of these cuss words. Wow, it's haunting. I don't know what some of these means. I think I've seen Gordon. I don't know. Yeah. And then, there it is. Finally passed all the cuss words. I didn't know how to say them. I don't know any alternatives. There's just a lot. If that's how I'm going to react if Ankalaev doesn't wrestle him, that would be the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And I've seen you recap. That's a little mean. I've seen you recap the remake of Roadhouse. Probably shouldn't have read that on camera. Shows you how Carl really talks to me. I'm kidding. I'm all joking, guys. But no, for real. For me and Carl Ankalaev, if for any chance you're watching us, just effing wrestle him. Don't be stupid. That's all I'm saying. Don't be stupid. If you beat him, if Ankalaev wins by knockout, upset of the year, right? Because it's not like, I mean, I'm picking Ankalaev to win by with wrestling, but like I think there's a weird difference between like, dude, you beat Ankalaev by wrestling, or you beat Pereira by wrestling him. That's awesome. Like, good. You should have been. People should have been doing that a while ago. There's in between. Dude, you knocked out Pereira on the feet. Whoa. Like, you know. Anyways, that's it for me. Hope y'all enjoyed the preview show and me rambling for close to an hour by myself as I slowly start to question my own sanity while I've been talking to myself. I'm sure my best friend who is also like, this guy's going crazy, slowly, surely. Yeah. Anyways, I'm Joe with the INC. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.